Oh, wait. Have you been able to hear me the whole time? Uh-oh. I don't think I did anything embarrassing, but the chances are never zero. Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Jeremy. Welcome to Guitar Hunter Live, episode 129, right? How is everybody? Hope you're having a good week. Let's see. Schuer's here. Happy Friday. Hello from Chester. Hey, Matt. Glad you're here, man. Darcel. Glad you're here, too. From upstate New York. That's exciting. Also from upstate New York. Checking in from Syracuse. Hi, Darcel and Jeremy. Let's see. Transplant in Germany. Hello from Berlin, Germany. Awesome. I'm glad y'all are here. Nice weather today in West Alabama. Wooltide, I like that name. Hope everyone else has gotten a break from the heat. It keeps looking like it's gonna rain here. It hasn't rained yet. So, greetings from Czechia, Central Europe. Well, hello. I love Czechia. I want to go back. I had such a good time with FERC in the Czech Republic. Loved it. We're just starting. I'll give some announcements here in a minute, but I'll just keep saying hi to people. Hi, happy Friday, guys, from a sunny, hot Paisley. All right. Hello from Ottawa, Canada. Hello. Is that the true authentic? It's not a true authentic. Well, it is truly an authentic. Yeah, so this is a 1937. Look at that. I'm doing a new frame rate today. So is it coming through? Does it look even better than normal? I can see it in my motion. I tried to get a better mic this week, or I'm doing the ribbon mic so I can get some. Just couldn't resolve. There we go. Yes. Oh, authentic 1937. Not sure where I got. No, you got the true vintage because that's from the true vintage is the Gibson ones. When they do their kind of thing. Tracy's here. Hey, Tracy, coming from Facebook. That's exciting. Glad you're here, man. Yeah. How does it sound? Guys, this week I broke my thumbnail and I had a bunch of videos coming up and I couldn't stand the thought of having a broken thumbnail and that thumpy no thumb sound. So I did a thing I haven't done in a long time, 12, 13 years. I went and got acrylics. I have an acrylic thumbnail, and but man, I love it. Heyo, John Brogan. Hey, John from Virginia Beach. Love your videos. Thanks. That means a lot. And I love Virginia Beach. A lot of my family's from Virginia Beach. I'm going to hang this guitar up. I'll give you some announcements, and then we'll get into it. Hey, please like, subscribe. I went through analytics this week, and it still seems like there's like 90%, 91% of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed to the channel. I know that you guys are kind of the hotbed of colds. Like, you are the core of people that are really subscribed to the channel. And, yeah. So, anyway, okay, this camera is killing me just a little bit. I'm breaking all the rules, and I'm messing with it after I already set it up. Do this. Is that better? Okay. Probably looks about the same to you guys, but it will be better for titles later on and graphics as I start doing the live show stuff. Yeah. So, congrats on another week. You did it. You made it. And, yeah, I'm excited for this weekend. It should be good. Okay, announcements. Let's talk about this. Number one announcement is I'm adding a perk to being a channel member or a channel member or a patron. I have a bunch of guitars that I have to sell. I also have a whole bunch of guitars that I can't tell you about that are just here, that our videos are being made, and they're going to be launched from brands that we all like and respect and love. Some brands that you like, some brands that you respect. But as we go through this, one of the perks I want to offer to you is that one, you will get the first chance to see them and buy them. Number two, I will give you deals that I do not give other people. So once they hit, I try to get the most money, like everybody, try to get the most money for things that I can. But because of you and your support and your partnership with me in the channel, so if you want that, it's like $3 a month, I think is the entry point. At $3 a month, you will get at least first crack to see any guitars that are coming through that you might want to buy. So think about becoming a channel member. Not a huge deal. So, yeah. Have I sold the 70s D18? I haven't. It's right over there. That's the one right there. Yes, it's on the website. I'll give you a special deal for a person. I thought I had it sold this week. I had somebody that committed at $23.50 for that. Daniel, hey buddy, glad you're here. Figured you were Juris Doctoring somewhere. As someone who doesn't understand the YouTube algorithm, why does Oliver Anthony get shoved down my throat when I don't like him? Well, I think lots of people do like him. It's wild. I've never seen anything quite like that. Yes. Well, I'll finish this question. As someone who doesn't understand the algorithm, that's me. I don't understand the algorithm. It really does come down to the most prolific thing that will drive YouTube to continue to subscribe videos is people sharing it outside of YouTube. Someone copying the link and texting it to somebody, and they can see that link that they generated then kicks somebody back onto YouTube, especially if that then makes them watch other videos, especially videos. The big thing with Oliver Anthony stuff is people watch the video, then it bounces them either to videos talking about those or reaction videos watching that video. So it's not really about the subject of Richmond, north of Richmond. It's about people talking about it. It's about watching the video, then watching other videos and watching other videos. That's what YouTube really ultimately wants, is us to just watch and watch and watch. So, yeah. So, I'm going to add that as a perk. Yeah, so Matt, I think you are. I'll have to double check. I'll have Caitlyn double check. You should, if you're on YouTube, it's pretty easy. It'll show that you're a member. Also, you can go through and look at your notifications, and if you get I post things pretty regularly that are channel members only. So if you see things that if it says channel members only, or if it has a little badge beside it, yeah. So anyway, so Daniel is a patron and a YouTube subscriber. Man, Daniel's the best. And I've bought guitars and amps. Yeah, Daniel and I, we've become friends, and we text regularly, and we're just regularly in touch about guitar stuff. So I appreciate it, Daniel. And we've got some other stuff coming. Daniel's guitar, the L3, is done from Nathan and should be coming this way next week. So yeah, so this is Daniel's been he's been working all day. This is his break. Thank you, man. I know that's you are a busy guy, and I appreciate that you spend your time here. So, hey peeps, hey Rasmus. Do you have any 12 fret mahogany parlors? No, I don't. So I think it's a good perk. So that's announcement one. If you're coming in late, announcement number one is that patrons and channel members are going to start getting first right to buy guitars and gear. Now there's some stuff that's coming that's pretty affordable and exciting. So it's not like, I don't want this to feel like a money grab. Like, oh, I now have you in this captive audience, and now I will get thousands of dollars out of you. The big thing is, most of these brands, the way that I'm making videos these days, most of them, I'm getting paid something, and I'm getting a guitar. Some of them we're still having to back off because the whole tectonic plates are shifting in how YouTubers work, how collaborations work with brands. And so some of them are backing off to, I mean, I'm having brands say, like, we have no money in the budget. We can let you borrow the guitar for a while. And those aren't great. It's not, I mean, it's because I can see the numbers of how many guitars get bought through links that I have. So, anyway, I'm probably sharing more than I should. But, yeah. So that's announcement number one. Announcement number two. Oh, what was it? Announcement number two. I cannot remember it. Caitlyn, my assistant. We talked this morning, and okay, we'll see if she responds. Whoops. Should have written it down. Okay, I'll get into a couple questions, and let's see. Jeremy, I don't think Jeremy will buy any guitar new unless he can't get it used, and it works for himself and his family. Dude, it's like I said to myself. Yeah, seriously, I've only bought a couple new guitars in my life. That D18 Authentic that I was just playing. Caitlyn said, in your spreadsheet, first row. Okay, here we go. Hang on, it's not an announcement. I don't know if she's watching. She's probably not. It is funny. She's my assistant. She runs so much of the stuff behind the scenes. Does not watch the videos. I'm okay with that. It'd be weird. It'd be especially vain for me to pay someone to watch videos of me. Hoi. Okay. So I got an email this week. So one of the things that I still sell that is a really helpful resource is the buyer's guide. Now we're reworking to retool it. That's why we dropped the price on the buyer's guide. But in a nutshell, somebody wants to know what is in the buyer's guide. And so in the buyer's guide, I walk you through, it's kind of a baby version of what's in the Guitar Hunter course. So in the buyer's guide is how to get the best deal. Like it's an evaluation of where can you buy guitars and how do those things operate? If you're buying in a private party, here are the pros and cons. Here's how you would get a good deal. Here are the things to look out for. How to buy from a small guitar shop, how to buy from a big guitar shop, and then how to buy from like the big online retailer. So it kind of walks you through how retailers worked, some of the insider info that I have just from being in the guitar world for so long. Yeah, so that's the big one. And then the other parts of that are then, well, when you get guitars that you are not into, how do you get the most back out of them? And so I'd walk you through taking pictures and writing descriptions and that kind of stuff. And then the third part, it's been a minute. By a minute, it's been like 4 years since maybe 3 years since I really looked at it. But we're in the process of reworking it. The deeper dive is then the course Write Guitars Faster, which that's a big like deep dive into like full on, how do you get the best deals for guitars? How do you get out of stuff? How do you get the right stuff to be with you forever? So anyway, yeah. So let's see. What are my thoughts on Alvarez Master Belt? They are excellent. We have a bunch of them at Hometown. I've played a bunch of them. We got the Parlor. It's the only Parlor guitar that I think is worth it. I think like the PRS Parlors are pretty thin sounding. And it's just a hard guitar. I mean, even Martin Parlors. It is a hard guitar to make sound good. And I think the Master works. The MP 66. I think that's the MPA 66. Yeah, it's a beautiful guitar. It's dreadnought depth, which I really like. Justin Till says, hey man, I'm a longtime musician, singer, songwriter, and I've been watching your page for a long time. Really like your stuff. Justin, thank you, man. That means so much. I'm glad you're here. All right. So Daniel says it is a valid perk, Jeremy. Obviously, you don't need to sell them to earn and progress. Makes sense that you would give us the deals before the public. Yeah, I like that. It seems like the right way to build the community. And that, been trying to work through it. Waterloo's worth it. Well, are Waterloo worth $3,500? Yeah. That's what got me with the Waterloos is they're so good. They're so incredibly great. But then it doubled in value in the time I had it. So I wouldn't pay what it was selling for. So, oh, you talked about Furch when mentioning announcements, just in case that was related. Oh, good. Okay, yes, yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, another announcement. Or this is just kind of an update of what's going on behind the scenes at Guitar Hunter. So Guitar Hunter now, I get to do this about a day and a half a week now. And it's wild. I'm putting out as many videos. I need to slow down. This week I felt myself like, is this what a mental breakdown feels like? I taste pennies. So I have been, for the last year or so, I have been filming and editing everything myself. And that has to change. So I have found an editor who I really like. Declan is awesome. He goes to James Madison University. He's a media arts and design major. And he's awesome. And so we're working through the first draft of the Boucher interview that I did with Robin Boucher. It's really great. It has a bunch of guitars in it. And then the next huge project we have to tackle is doing the full-blown Boucher video. So that one's coming. It's just by the time I got home from Canada and looked at all the footage, we had 4.5 hours of it. So once we finish those two projects, we should finish those by the end of next week. Then we're going to move on going backwards and working on the FERC video. I know that info is going to be about a year removed, but I just love it. And I'm so excited to bring you stuff about my time with FERC. Because I've done I think 6 or 7 videos with FERC guitars at this point, but I haven't done the full blown here's the studio, because other channels have done it, and there is nothing more boring to me than how do you make a guitar? Start with wood and bend it and shape it and sand it. It's the most obvious. So I haven't been able to figure out the right story component to it. So we'll work on that. Let's see. Do you ever get anything besides guitars? I do. I get a lot of mandolins. I bought a resonator today, but that probably will not be on the channel because it's not that exciting. I had a banjo for 8 seconds and then doubled my money a little bit ago. Don't ask about the Waterloo. I know. So if you don't know, the Waterloo was my favorite guitar. I still love it. I wish I could have kept it, but it doubled in value in the time I had it. I got it for $1,600. I had somebody buy it for $3,200. Yeah, $3,200. Right in the moment when we had some real serious family stuff going on, and I was still doing YouTube full time, and $3,400 solved a lot of problems that my family was kind of coming up against. So anyway, help AI go algorithm. Oh, help algorithm. Click the like button. Thank you, Sam. Justin says, what do you think is a good deal on a Martin 0018 reimagined? What do you think about the reimagined series? I'll go from the back. I love the reimagined. I just filmed a video, so if you can't really see because I'm shooting in a shallow depth of field, but those are all D18s. 72 D18, 72 D18, 2023 D18, authentic. Oh no, Santa Cruz there, but it's basically an 18E thing. Then the authentic, and then my boxwood back there. So I just filmed a video on all the 18s and just how much I love them and how great I think they are. And so I wrote a video that's a love letter to the Martin D18. So very fun. You're not alone. Try interviewing Bobby Boucher. They don't get that joke also, or they're so over it they can't handle it. Okay, what's a good deal on a 0018 reimagined? They're so rare. Not super rare, but they're so much less popular in sales numbers than the Dread. I don't know, I'm guessing. If you could get one, if you could get one at $2, you're killing it. $2,200 probably. Most people that are getting those don't want to come off of them. We have them in the shop. They're great. I haven't done any videos with them. They keep selling immediately. So we had an LL16, we had an FG9, we had an FGX5, we have an FX5 now in the shop. They're all remarkable. I can talk more about this later, but Yamaha, basically, they've always been a nostalgic guitar, and they've always been undervalued. And now Yamaha is now selling hard on their own nostalgia and then doing it in a way that they're trying to demand like top dollar prices. So anyway, how do you think Eastman acoustic guitar values will hold up over time? That's a great question. It's a question I ask myself every day, which is probably why I haven't owned an Eastman myself. My thing with Eastman is that I keep finding these guitars. I'm like, this is incredible. Like we had an E6 OM, no, an E6D that was a beautiful mahogany back and sides, round shoulder, dread with a torrefied spruce top. And I kept playing. I was like, this is so good. It just reminds me so much of. So what guitar does it remind me of? And I'm like, oh, my right Lutherie does this thing better, and I already own that one. And so anyway. Oh, I do. Wooltide says, do you discuss anything about the large rosewood bridge plates in your upcoming D18 for the Martins from the 70s? I do. I also talk about the dorky dad era of the New Balances and knee-high socks at a cookout that was all the D18s from the late 80s, 90s, 2000s until reimagined. That's the most rags to riches. Like how boring and old man the D18 and the D20, all of them were, the standard series was in the 2000s until boom, like a generation shift. So yeah, I definitely talk about that. And I give examples of the tone where it's kind of spongy and punky sounding. Punky? Thumpy? Anyway. Hey-oh! Holy Freak 86 says, hey man, I found this channel because I was looking for a new acoustic. Bought an Epiphone AJ220S. So happy with the new guitar. Greetings from Argentina. Hey buddy. My best friend in high school was from Argentina. And one time we're in Behind the Wheel. And I grew up in like the mountains in Virginia. And there's like the basketball coach. He was a football coach. And he was like, hey George. His name was Jorge. Like, hey George. Where are you from? And Jorge was like, oh, I'm from Argentina. And the coach just comes back at him and says, Argentina, huh? I've never been to Europe. Heard it's nice. That's always stuck with me. Never been to Argentina. No, not the bridge plate. That's true. All right. I'm just going to look at a couple more. Bro, New Balance is only for the coolest. Radiohead, Sturgill Simpson on ACL, NASCAR Pit Crews, can't I'm talking, you know which New Balance I'm talking about. Any shoe has the dorky dad version. The white on white, big, puffy bottom. You know what I'm talking about. Your dad has a pair like my dad has a pair. My dad has a couple pairs. They're in different shades of green from cutting the grass. So, hey-oh, Jeremy, hook me up with a Taylor 514 CE cedar top, Koa back and sides. I have two Taylors for sale right now that after this I'm going to post for patrons. I have an 814, well, you've seen this one. An 814 Sassafras is over there. I also have 618 in the Pacific, whatever the Sunburst is. That one is it's V-Class bracing. I've just looked at it like one time, and it's on my website as well. Technically on the website, but I'm gonna go ahead and get these things going. So anyway, okay. All right. In this video, I want to talk about guitar brands that I would never buy. Like they're not on my radar at all. And it's a little, not circuitous, but we're going on a journey here because you have to kind of understand like some contemplative components of like, okay, philosophically, how do I look at guitar brands? Why do I come to this? Not because nothing would be worse. My opinion is not that helpful. My opinion is just I'm a middle of the road guitar player who's just obsessed about guitars and how they're built and how much they're worth and how to buy and sell them. But other than that, like my opinions are still my opinions. Like there are plenty of things I don't like that are not good or not bad. I just don't like them. So anyway, let's embrace the things like you can not agree with people on a lot of stuff and be fine. And it's not your identity. So, should a brand reflect your values? I think the answer is basically no. For me, when I think about the brands that I care most about, they do align with the things that I value in my life. Family, good construction. I don't know why I led with family, but good construction, good techniques, ethically sourced materials, quality. There's a sense of heritage. There's also a sense of innovation. These are all things that you can value. And so I think they don't have to align on everything. So like there are certain brands like Breedlove, and I'll lead this whole video this whole live show is because Breedlove has completely lost me. Like they've lost everything that I liked about their brand. They don't do anymore. Everything. They've gotten prettier and they've gotten more affordable and they've dropped the quality and they've just been hijacked by a message that I don't particularly care about. Like, I don't want the prettiest polyurethane guitar under $1,000. That's just not my thing. I want the ludicrous, like they went from being Lamborghini to being Kia. Oh boy. Been trying to work with Breedlove for a long time. Doesn't sound like I'm going to work with them at this point. But should a brand reflect your values? You will resonate most with brands that do, but they don't have to on every possible angle. Martin has done a whole bunch of stuff, not a sponsor. But Martin has done a lot of stuff that I'm like, okay, like I get it, but that's not my thing. Okay. Should the brand of a guitar matter? Yes, it should. I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm like, if you're putting your name on a thing, it matters. And you find this, that like brands matter more when you get to smaller brands, you get to these like incredible guitar builders. Because those guys, I mean, Preston Thompson did not put out a single guitar that he did not love and he wouldn't stand behind. Wayne Henderson, every single guitar. I've seen Wayne work on guitars on the fly when something's not right with a guitar when they're at a show. I've seen Wayne take a guitar off to the side and work on it. And so it has to matter. There are ones that they put the brand as so important that they want you to disregard the quality of the guitar. On the other ones, like Wayne Thompson, Preston Thompson, Ben Padgett, you look at all those dudes, Nathan Wright, Hassan Dalton, you look at those, and those guitars, they say a thing about them, and the quality of their guitars say what they value. But the other way that this works is when you look at like Esteban, the Keith Urban guitars, those are, we got a famous guy, don't look too closely at the guitar. And so they want the brand to speak louder than the quality of the actual thing. So you got to think about, there's two components to consider when you're thinking about guitar brands. And I know I'm using that word in a couple different ways. Okay. Words about products is marketing. Feelings from those products is branding. Now, sometimes there are words that are used to brand, like, just do it is a brand that also kind of means a thing for Nike. But with this, you have to think, I mean, you have emotional responses to the marketing efforts of these guitar companies. So it does matter. It has to work through. Okay, here's the thing. And I want to jump through this, and I've done this before. Before I was doing YouTube, I was a freelance marketer. I made marketing systems for all kinds of products. I sold phone systems, I sold gas detectors, sold noise monitoring systems, sold respirator fit testers, all kinds of techie crazy things. And what I found was, okay, I got to figure out a way to get people to pay attention to what I'm saying. And that's kind of how my YouTube channel started. So I'm going to have to scoot over here for a second. So, okay, here's the thing. To make sense of the world, your brain uses a reliable tool. And we use this tool every day. We use it hundreds of times a day. And here's the thing. Your brain is only ever trying to do two things. It is trying to keep you from dying, to conserve energy. It is trying to keep you from dying and for you to conserve as much energy as possible. So if anyone's going to tell you something that's going to actually stick with you, it has to hit one or both of those things. It has to be immediately helpful information that fits into what you need to survive. So when someone says like, hey, Bob, what do you do? And your answer is like, well, it's kind of complicated. My uncle started a business in 1971. You are literally telling people like, hey, you can just turn your brain off for a bit. What I'm saying doesn't matter. but you have to matter. So, okay. When you're working through marketing stuff, one of the tools that we use, and this all comes from Storybrand.com. I'll show you that stuff. But stories have predictable parts. Okay, so here's how stories work. Every story you've ever met has a character who has a problem, and that problem works out into several tiers. There's an external component to this. Sure, like somebody's walking into a guitar shop, they're looking for a guitar. That's easy. But it manifests internally. So that problem goes down into their feelings, which is, I'm nervous about whether or not I can actually do this. I want to make stuff. I don't know if I have what it takes. So then it works all the way down into, there's a philosophical thing where like, hey, you're made to make music. It shouldn't be this hard. It doesn't have to be this hard to make music. And then if you work all the way down, there's a component of this that is a villain. The next thing is you have brands that meet a guide. And so the guide then comes in and, this is like, so if you're thinking about guides, think about like Luke Skywalker meets Yoda, Tommy Boy meets Richard. What other movies recently? If you watched the dinner party or the after party, the after party, both of those, they're great. It's such a good show. But anyway, their whole thing is that all of these show that a guide comes in, they have empathy and authority. The guide also gives them a plan, tells them how to do it, how to overcome, how to learn guitar. Hey, like guitar doesn't have to be hard. You can do it with my 3-step plan. Tony does this really well with Tony's Acoustic Challenge. And then after their training, they call them to action. And so that's a very clear thing that the marketing is going to do. That's, let's talk, sign up now, get into a workshop, take an assessment, whatever it is, they're directly calling them to action. And then they're going to show them that this will result in either success or failure. Hey, your life will be great. You'll learn how to play guitar. You're going to make new friends. You're going to have a community of people that want to hear your music. The downside, you don't play guitar. You only play video games and watch movies. You die alone and sad. Got to be careful. The failure side of a story. So, smart brands use this to their advantage. Smart brands do a couple things, and that's where I want to kind of figure out why certain brands have lost me. I've done this before. I talk about this in one of my bigger videos on the channel, which is why Gibson is losing guitar players. They are a case study in bad marketing in some ways. They're doing pretty bad marketing, but they also have so much money behind them, and they have so much cultural currency that they can kind of push through it. Gibson's message overall is, shut up, dummies. We make cool guitars. Give us your paychecks. Like, that's basically like, they're rock stars. They're cool. You should be like them. And so, without getting too deep into this, Frodo meets Aragorn. Exactly. Yeah. Aragorn. There's all kinds of amazing stuff when you start getting into like the role of the guide. Okay. The 10,000 foot view on story. People's brain use stories to make sense. What I am not saying tell that a guitar brand needs to tell you their whole story. That's exactly what I'm not saying. What I am saying is you are the hero in that story. You are the person that wants something and you have a problem. That's why you're at their website. That's why you're at a guitar shop. And that guitar shop has to be the guide, or that brand has to walk you through the process of becoming the best version of yourself with a guitar in your lap. So you'll hear this. Like I've pondered this for the last 7 years of doing YouTube. I have just racked my brain for figuring out how to talk about this in a way that is compelling and true. That's the big thing behind this. So the main takeaways from this are be the guide. Look for guitar brands that are the guide. That they want you to become the best guitar player. They want you to play shows, build music, build a community. They want you to overcome. They want you to learn discipline. They want to help you become a better version of yourself. Beware of brands that say guitar gods. Like Gibson tells you the story about other brands. Like they tell you about freaking Slash. They keep telling you about Slash. They keep telling you about Tommy Iommi. They keep telling you about Angus Young. They just wants you to feel bad that you're not them, and you, at best, you can imitate a celebrity, and that's what you should spend so much money for. So look for brands that are the guide, not the hero. So we're going to poke around here in a sec. I want to look around. Oh, yep, didn't finish that thought. So first, let's just, I want to go over to Gibson and just look at some, yeah, I just want to look and see like how they market themselves. And Gibson brands, essential cookies only. Okay, what are they telling me about them and their brand? This is interesting. They've gone away from like the big, yeah. There's no like aspirational photos. It's just right away they're like, here, these are cool colors. Shop the guitars. So that's their call to action. But yeah, they assume that you know a whole lot about their guitars right away. They know that they're expensive, so they want to show you guitars under $2,500. They also know there's a collector. These are awesome. We should definitely talk about these. The Murphy Lab acoustics. Awesome. This is interesting. This is very much not what I expected. But look, metal and monsters. That's the whole thing. This is the most gratuitous, and I love Jason Isbell. And I think I'm okay with Mark. But I think that they're a case study in bad marketing with deep pockets. Oh boy. Oh, what have I done? You didn't see that, but somehow I clicked over to like the code on the website. Interesting. They've done away with, like, there's so few pictures of people. They are not trying to show you figuring out life and you becoming a better guitar player, you using their product to have a personal transformation. Really interesting. So for me, like, I mean, I own some Gibsons. I've never bought a new Gibson. I probably wouldn't buy a new Gibson. But yeah, let me come back over here and yeah, what's your take on this? Adam Jones, kind of cool. Oh man, Fender and Gibson. So Gibson and Fender custom shops both suffer from a bad case of arrogance. I think so. True. Yeah. Okay. So okay, I didn't put Paul Reed Smith in here, but we certainly can. Paul Reed Smith is interesting. He wants to be the hero in all of the things. He puts himself as the hero. He figured out how to make pickups that sound better. Figured out how to carve tops in a way that conserves more wood. He figured out this. I mean, he thinks much of himself. But he's also achieved so much. I mean, that's the thing that we need to be okay with. Like, there are people that get to be, I don't know if arrogant, but there are people that get to be 100% on their own team. I'm not. But yeah, I get it. Dream job. I'm not qualified for it, but dream job would be working for Martin, doing cool like museum stuff, traveling around. I want to travel to like smaller Martin dealers and just support them, hear their stories, make videos about them, chase down old guitars, and yeah, I would be awesome. No, whoops, that was a Freudian slip. It would be awesome. I would do my best. Okay, let's go over here. Let's go to the Fender custom shop. Well, let's go to Fender directly. Okay, so. All right, so the first thing, the Mike McCready Stratocaster on 912. Cool. No thanks. Okay, California series. Get out of here. Fender has got some acoustic guitars. So, very interesting from a marketing perspective. They have moved away from like the clear, for years, the most compelling kind of photos were pictures of people like smiling, happy people playing guitar. This is a great picture. This is somebody learning how to play guitar. They have a Squier. It's a cool, specky Squier. And it's just, yeah, good for them. But the rest of these are just pictures of stuff. Okay, here's my thought. if you've ever had kids, if you ever taught them how to play catch, I think in marketing, it's like teaching your kids how to play catch. Little kids, 18 months, a year to 2 years. You play with a kid. You got a little ball. Hey, buddy, catch the ball. Oh, they miss it. It falls behind them. They look around for it, and you say, "There it is, buddy. Look." And what do? They look at you, and they look at your finger. They don't know. They think that you're offering them your finger, which isn't helpful to them, and they're confused. They don't understand that you're saying, "Hey, from my finger, there's an imaginary line to the thing you want most, to the thing that would make you happy and satisfied, that would keep the game going." They don't know that. I think that when guitar brands, when any consumer electronics or any like product, when they just show you pictures of the product and not the product being used, and the product helping people overcome difficulties, the problem not making them satisfied and have a better life, like that's the ball. That's the imaginary line and the ball. But instead, they just say, "Look at my finger." That's my soapbox. So let's go to the custom shop. Can I get to it from here? I can't find it quickly. Fender custom shop. Limited Waylon Jennings Telecaster. You see how much those things are? They're $25,000. Michael Landau. The custom shop obviously is mostly going to be like, "Hey, here's a celebrity, buy their guitar." Man, websites have really changed in the last year or so. Okay, here's an interesting thing that's very cool. They have a how to order. This is the plan. Like, they are nailing this part. Like, hey, you got to choose a level. Then, boom, boom, boom. Download this thing. Build your, choose your build level. Choose a base model. Where is it? Where do I download the design guide? Okay. That's taking too long. Sorry. Oh, that's not going to go to the right place. Molly Tuttle for Waterloo Guitars. Ode to an Era. This is an interesting thing where they've said, like, hey, these guitars came from the passion of Bill, and they're great guitars. It's a different way of saying, like, yeah, it's not saying, like, learn how Bill Cullings learned how to build guitars. This is like, hey, he discovered something amazing and you need to know about it. That's a different message. Awesome. Okay, this is cool. I'm going to come back over here and look. I feel like I've been talking the whole time. Okay. Let me come back here. Come over here. So, okay. We looked at Fender. We looked at Gibson. Let's look at Martin real quick. Does Martin say, "Shut up, dummies, we make cool guitars"? Hey, find your newest obsession? It's not awful. I wish it was a person playing that guitar. These, the OMJMs, the Sunbursts remind me of, like, a picture of, I think, if I had to guess, it is a picture of a Sunburst in black and white. I think it's cool. Buy online or get it locally. No pictures of people yet. There's always a new string. Like, we finally figured it out. We finally figured out how to get you to spend $40 on a set of strings. Ooh, I like that coffee mug. Listen, I love Martin. Unleash your inner artist. Hey, that is a different message than Play Authentic. Play Authentic was literally follow us as we do cool stuff. Like, it is shut up and get in. This is, you've got a thing. Like, you are an artist. We're going to help you figure out how to get out of your head, get out of your way. Don't let your back hurt while you're trying to sing. You know, they're walking you through the process of becoming who you are meant to be. That's an incredible message. I know it's going to be hard for them to roll that out. Martin has a big hole to get themselves out of, as far, like, because this is Martin. Like, yeah, this is good. Unleash the artist within. Mission statement: to be an organized. Who cares? Who cares about a mission statement? A better opportunity for this would be Martin saying something like, "We believe in the power of people and music. We believe that people are better with guitars in their laps." I mean, it's a bit unfair because I've thought through this stuff just obsessively for a long time. But like, we believe the good guitars are worth fighting for. That's why for 190 years, we've built guitars that have led people to create the most memorable music in the history of the world. Blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that. Operating values. And that's where you can say, like, because we're fixing that problem, we get the best woods. We hire the best people. We meticulously work and refine our manufacturing process so that we can make guitars that will inspire the next great songwriter, blah, blah, blah. And then as they continue that message, like, hey, we also want this world to last. We're a company that's 190 years old. We're thankful that our great-grandparents took care of the earth so that we're here now, and we're going to keep taking care of it so that our great-grandkids get to have it. I think they're so close. Okay. Should we go to Taylor? Ah! What? Oh. Did you see that? Here's what I was talking about. The mission statement. Look, we have old people in our family. Do you have old people in your family? That's crazy. Yeah, I think that this is close. I think if you're opening the story loop of like, hey, there are a million artists out there that haven't figured out how to make art, and the world will suffer if artists don't make art. And so we need beauty and we need creativity and we need music. So here's how we do it. We believe that people are better with guitars in front of them. We believe that people are better when they're making music. That's why we use the best materials, the best stuff. We hire the best people. We also we are aware that we are using resources that we have to be really careful that our great grandkids are going to get to have materials just as good or better than us to make guitars for artists in the future, because artists aren't going away. So we have to take care of the world. That's where I think this is just so good. Me too. I've just found myself just sitting in here just staring at it. Traveling to PA. Journey Parlor Travel, guitar in tow. Don't buy a Fender acoustic, in my opinion. Yep. Okay. Let's go to Taylor. That's the last one, and then I'll get to the actual juicy. I've had a couple sound bites. Not that I think brands watch this live show, but I've said two things, and I'm like, oh boy. Okay. Taylor guitars. Okay. This is sharing. Why is Taylor guitars? Again, guitars, not people. I'm accepting so many cookies on all of your behalves. Okay. They want pretty guitars at affordable prices. Right now I can see there's like from the front of this website, I can tell that they're torn on, okay. They're torn on how they want me to do business with them. Number one, step forward. Music is waiting. Trademarked. Good. That does not have a space for you or I as guitar players. Like, step on up. It's your turn. Like, that's okay. I wish it was sharper. I wish that this was... Anyway. Guitars and prices. Oh, what I was saying about being torn on I see a dealer's. So like, do you want me to go through a dealer? There's also a cart here. Do you want me to buy from you? Well, if I buy from you, that means I'm not buying from a dealer, which means I'm not supporting a local business. What if my guitar goes wrong? What if I buy an expensive guitar and I don't like it? What if I need to try a guitar in person before I buy it? They are torn on how they want you to do business with them. And I've heard some of the numbers from behind the scenes, and Taylor has sold very few guitars through their own website. Anecdotally. Can't prove that. Don't know that to be true, but I've heard it from 2 different big Taylor dealers. Okay. Find your next guitar. Explore Taylor guitars. They do have some pretty ones. And then going back into like the eco component of guitar building. Man, this website, I guarantee no one has ever read this. Why would you? Like, there's nothing that says, like, hey, you want me to actually grow as a guitar player, other than, you want my money? Oh, you got cheap guitars? And you got expensive guitars? Cool. Like, yeah, this is not my thing. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. Okay, I'll show you one more thing. If you want to learn more about this, if you care about this stuff, I know this has been a sidestep from where we normally are, but a lot of what I got here today is from Business Made Simple. And Business Made Simple and Storybrand. Hey, that's my brother-in-law. That's Donald Miller. Also, if you recognize that bookshelf, last fall when I was in Nashville, I did a couple live shows from there. And then this camera right here, that's the living room. That's where my kids take naps. And my kid threw up on a couch right here, right in the forefront of that picture, last October or so. Anyway, building a Storybrand Storybrand is a company. They have a book, they have a podcast. They were a really helpful resource for if you own a business, if you're trying to do stuff. Anyway, that's where I got a lot of this stuff. I'm not trying to take any of that as my own. That is all them. They're an incredible resource. And so check out that stuff if you are so inclined. All right, I'm back here. All right, cynical rebuttal regarding EcoSpeak. Feels like some brands justify cheaper materials at normal prices under the guise of sustainability. Yep. I mean, it was just going to turn into firewood anyway, so we saved it. That's what I heard about the sustainable wood, like when I got my SWD GT. Yeah. All Taylors are bolt-ons, right? Right enough? I think so. They make great guitars. And in the life of a guitar, it's pretty reasonable that a guitar would need to have a neck reset or an adjustment. I've come off of my high horse for bolt-on necks. For that money, I want it in hand. I want to and have a 100% easy return policy on the way. Could Steel and Strings magazine be what made Taylor popular? That's interesting. Yeah, they are around for so long, and those magazines were such high quality that they did really good. So, Jeremy, how much would you pay for an 015 or 17 from the early to mid 50s? In the US, you can find people asking big prices for them, but they never seem to bring that. Like above 3, they never bring that. I would say, under $2,000, $1,700, $1,800. If you could, no more than $2,500. What would be a Taylor model you'd pitch to someone who has strictly played Martin Dreads over 10 years? That's a good question. I really liked the AD-17 that I had. That's the only Taylor I've ever really, really liked. That's not true. I really like the 714 and Cedar. Those are the two that really get me. I had a 712 that I really liked. If you're going for a Martin thing, the AD-17 is closest, but it's probably still a little more Gibson-y feeling. But those are good. I can't ever recall being moved to a purchase by a brand messaging specifically. I bet you have, and you don't even know it. because I bet it was so compelling to your psyche that you lined up with it. I mean, if you think about, because guitars are such a small percentage of our actual like marketing experience, of being marketed to. Like, think about, I mean, the sodas that you get at a gas station, the chips. Think about the shoes that you wear, the phone that you use. I mean, something has worked. I mean, you are told how to think and what to value. Here's a crazy thing. Story does a whole lot of stuff for your brain. Okay, story is the tool that you use to make sense of the world. And if someone knows that and hijacks that, they can get you to buy in. They can orient you into a story that heads you down the wrong path. It can be used for evil, is what I'm saying. It shouldn't, but it can be. There are compelling ways to get people to go to adult websites. There are compelling ways to get people to do other illicit activities. And that's where you come into the idea of like valid work and invalid work. Then you get to, what was the other part of that? Oh, I lost it. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I lost it. PRS got me good. I have been in love ever since. I worked hard. Okay. Okay. The other thing that story does. Stories, where your brain... How do I say this? The part of your brain that houses morality is also the part of your brain that is most active when you are engaged in a story. So stories set your morals. Not dissecting a story and pulling morals out of them, which is the normal, like, especially in the church world. We're like, what does this story mean? You're like, no. Just the story itself. Good conquering evil. Redemption being brought about by struggle. Like, these themes are critically important. And they train your morality. So that's why I think a lot of the brand stories that these companies are all saying is like this eco thing. And they're trying to shape your morality in certain ways. For good or bad, I'm not making any judgment or assessment of it. But anyway, the last thing. The most compelling thing that a story can do is to make you look at yourself differently. To give you a new identity. Like, I am different because I belong to this community. I own this guitar that will get handed down to my grandkids. Like that kind of component. So, yeah, PRS got me good. So one of the like kind of cheesy examples of branding, but it actually works really, really well, is certain slogans that give you a new identity. Think about choosy moms choose Jif. It's Jif peanut butter. But the idea of like, you're a choosy mom. You take care of your kids. They eat good food. They are taken care of. You are a good mom. Which that's the beginning of their story is, they are scared that they're a bad mom. Like, that's the problem. Am I a bad mom because I am overrun with my life and I have to just find something off the shelf to give my kids for lunch? Anyway. So, Fender does this really, really well. They continue to kind of, yeah. Fender seems to really kind of understand who is learning to play guitar right now. And they're going after that audience. They're trying to build up, they don't want to be expensive. They want to be cool. They want to give you features, and they're like, they have so many strata of like, the affinity or the sonic and the affinity and the classic vibe and the paranormal and then players and then a players plus and a limited and Fender special runs, Ventera 2. They're real. I've seen them. There's one in this room. It will come out soon. Then you get into, anyway, there's all these tiers of these. Okay. Would I buy J45 Studio? I would not. Easy. That's easy. Just ask me what guitars would I buy. Would I buy a pre-war acoustic guitar? Yes. Those dudes are great. I do think that these and Nash are pretty similar. I think, and it makes sense that Walti that you said both of them. Okay. I think that Nash guitars are awesome from 5 feet away. I think they are the best a parts caster can be. They don't bring anything of their own to the party. They're just really good parts casters. I wish that they brought any kind of innovation, but they're not like a guitar. They're not trying to do their own thing. They're just trying to give you cool options because you can't afford custom shops. So the two things that hit me are like, it's a parts caster and it's a placeholder, or it's a compromise. Not great, but that's kind of my perspective on them. For pre-war guitars, I have a giant pre-war sticker here. I like those dudes. I played the 12 fret that they did for Norman Blake, and they did for Bob Minner, and but they have tradition. No, they have borrowed tradition, and they don't have innovation. I don't think, other than innovation on making new guitars look old or sound old. So. Yeah. Bringing some shred dirt loggers. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's so good. Brandon. So Brandon is a great dude. He lives here in town, and he plays in the band Hackens Boys, and I got to share some videos. They had a video go out, and they have like a custom beer that they did with a brewery here in town. That's awesome. I'm so excited. I already answered this, but would I buy a Gibson J45 Studio? No, I wouldn't. Even used. The studios are so limited. They just they're pushing Gibson. They're getting money out of your wallet for Gibson, but they know that they're taking as much as they can because it says studio. No story from Eastman and no desire to own one until out of curiosity I pulled an E40. What a monster. OM-SB and strummed it. It was the tone and the sunburst and the abalone. That is like the top of the line one, too, Patrick. So that's awesome. Yeah, so that one, yeah, that's their top of the line. I wonder, like, would I buy an Eastman? So I want to land this a little bit. Okay, hang on. I think we were kind of saying the same thing. I screwed that up. Pre-war is to acoustics as Bill Nash is to electrics. Obviously, pre-war are higher quality. Okay, I'm with you. I'm glad we're tracking. I basically said the same thing. Like, I think that they're very similar. Yeah, Boucher changed my entire perspective on what an acoustic can do, but they are boutique. It's true. I love Boucher guitars. I want to own one. Honestly, the Ayiri story has been the most compelling to me recently. I hope it's true. From what I've heard, it really is true. Robin Boucher has an incredible story, but he is the least... he is the most humble guitar builder I've ever met. He's unlike any of the others. There's always this, like... shut up and listen to my genius component that comes from a lot of those guys. And there's just zero of that. Yeah. Dude, you should make it closer. Make it you are there. Matt McFarland says, Shep, greater things are coming for you, bud. You are marketing yourself now, bud. Thank you. I mean, to be helpful to the world, you have to exist to solve a problem. And I want to help people discover themselves through making music. I'm not a great, like, music. I'm not into theory. I'm not into lessons. You know, I've fought making that kind of video because it's just not my thing. But yeah. Do you like Epiphone inspired by Gibson? They're pretty good. I don't think I would buy one. So let's go to like. Okay, I didn't do the graphics. I'm gonna land the ship. I gotta end this and get out of here in a minute. What do you think about an LG2 Gibson? Wonderful, love them, especially from the '90s till now. They're excellent. Are pre-war guitars mostly hype? Are they highly collectible modern guitars? Are there highly collectible modern guitars? Yes, two great questions. Are pre-war guitars mostly hype? No, they are not mostly hype. They are really, really great guitars. They lack innovation. They lack their own brand, or their own kind of narrative. But I'm into them. I like them. I think Atkin, if I had to pick, there are other brands, a lot of other brands I would buy before them. I would buy an Atkin tomorrow. Yeah. The second question, are there highly collectible modern guitars? Yes. Gibson acoustics continue to really, the high-end Gibson acoustics continue to be an excellent purchase. A friend of mine, he works in the record pressing plant next to us. When we were in high school, right out of high school, he bought, maybe it was a graduation present. His family bought him a Gibson, I think it's a Southern Jumbo 200, an SJ 200 in a burst with a big white binding and the big, like, beautiful ornate pickguard. That guitar is double the value of what he paid for it. And yeah. Here we go. Froggy Bottom versus Santa Cruz versus Bourgeois versus Boucher. Froggy Bottom is probably the best quality of all of those. But they're a hand-built guitar. They're not really a boutique guitar. They're kind of a tick above what everybody else is doing. Santa Cruz, remarkable guitars. They're so deeply steeped in Martin tradition that it's kind of hard to tease apart their own style versus... I like their tweaks. I love Santa Cruz. I have one literally behind my head. Bourgeois, great guitars. They're voiced very differently. They are not voiced like Gibsons or Martins. They're not made to be like boomy and punchy and present. They are meant to cut through a mix. I think they're a recording guitar. I mean, I'm a big fan. I really like their slope shoulders too. I've had three of the Touchstones so far. I've liked those. And Boucher, there is no one building a better modern OM style guitar than Robin Boucher and their team. They are remarkable. We're watching the footage yesterday, and my wallet starts to buzz inside my pocket, wanting to buy one, which I started getting quotes from those guys. I'm like, okay, if I would get one, how much would it cost me? So I'm working on that over the next couple of years. So, also add Collings and Haas and Dalton to that list too. Collings, remarkable guitars, kind of hard to play for some people. They're not as approachable for everyone. I would buy a Collings, a 00, like the one that Paul Davids just got. Remarkable. Haas and Dalton, incredible. I think that... Okay, let's talk about Haas and Dalton. Love those guys. Old friends. I think the electric guitars are the most boring possible thing they could do. It's the safest, most ridiculous chase of money. It's just lawyers and doctors that they're going after. It's a boring Les Paul and a boring double cut. I don't get it. That's the most honest I've been about those. For their acoustic guitars, I think that the TDM is remarkable. The DS is incredible. The DS Crossroads is the best guitar they make. The Crossroads 12, the 12 fret Crossroads, their Gibson style stuff is unbelievably good. And their contemporary stuff, it's fine. My DRH custom D2, whatever it was, the guitar that I had, the headstock is too small, and the E and the A strings, the A string like cuts across the E tuner, and it always buzzed and had that like sympathetic resonant high pitch thing. So anyway, I've known that they know that they need to fix it and they just haven't. So anyway, that's the most honest I've ever been about those guys. I've been worn down. Iris is remarkable. I wish I could talk more about them. I wish we could work together. I've asked them so many times, like, can we work together? Can I borrow a guitar? And it's just hasn't worked out ever. I bought an Iris DF during 2020 or 2021, and it was remarkable. Those are great guitars. Guild D55 for worship music, looking to buy one. That would be a great guitar. Longer scale length, 25 and 5/8, so it's very strummy. It's not jangly at all. It's very like piano-like. Beautiful guitar, beautiful to look at. FG9s are excellent. I probably wouldn't buy one, but very cool. What does high-end Gibson acoustic mean? I would put you at least at a J45 standard, but really I would say it has to be either the custom shop stuff or like their high-end. The true vintage J45, the Banner 45, the Southern Jumbo reissue, the J200. A J200 is kind of one of the... I think they depreciate the least of all of those. J185s are up there too. So I would get like high-end stuff. What sets Froggy Bottom's quality apart from those? Their production is way, way, way smaller. I think they only make maybe 20 guitars a year. I could be wrong. I'm totally guessing at that. But I've only played 2 in my life, and they both have been like redefining what a guitar can be. They're meticulously well built. And they use I think it's just a different ethos of how to build guitars. What about Iris guitars? Yeah, I just talked about them. I love Iris. If you own an Iris, Tex or Howard, maybe one of you guys reach out and say, hey, you should work with Jeremy, because I've been trying for a long time. And yes, okay. I lead worship. I've been thinking about a Guild D55. It's one of my staples for Sunday mornings. Have you owned, or do you recommend it for worship music? Yeah, I just answered this. I saw you from before. I'm just behind on comments. I didn't own one, but I had one for maybe 5 months in 2020. And it's an excellent, excellent guitar. It's a little quiet, which I really like. The one that I had the full Anthem. And it's a full professional guitar. I've heard Bourgeois is slightly muted but deeply rich. The same thing has been said of me. Yes, I just read about these the last couple days. Have you had any experience with the new Gibson Murphy Lab acoustics? I haven't played them personally, but I want to make a video about like what guitar depreciates the least. I think it has to be those. You're definitely right about Boucher OMs. They represent Robin's best work and are undervalued. I sold my Ferk and Yamaha and bought another OM from Boucher with a torrefied top. Unreal. Corey, that's an incredible guitar. Froggy Bottoms, new standard D, or D standard, seems to be a really interesting guitar. I agree. I'm going to reach out to them and see. I mean, I doubt that. I do not have enough sway in the universe to get one of those guitars at this point. Or I don't have enough cash to buy one. Even some of these deals they offer me, like, hey, you can get one at artist pricing, but you need to own it for 2 years. It needs to be on this amount of content. You need to have it, and tag us on all these posts. Sometimes that lift is just too heavy for me. So anyway, Robin says, I think my next acoustic will be a Dawina. Similar to Ferk, but more customizable. I've heard a lot about them. I heard about them while I was in the Czech Republic, but I was with the guys from Ferk, so they were not going to take me to a place that I would find a Dawina. So anyway, hey, this has been an incredibly fun live show. I love kind of the punch at the end in the conversation of would I buy a thing, would I not buy a thing. Other guitars that I wanted to talk about that I would not buy, here, save this for the end. I don't think I'd buy a Reverend. If you don't know Reverends, they're kind of ultra parts casters, but they're high on innovation, but they're so okay. PRS and Reverend have the same problem. They're like going to a Mexican restaurant for lunch. There's 72 options. I'll take a 68, but there's like 4 ingredients, and they're just a mix of the same thing. So with Reverend, it's a mix of, do you want a humbucker or a P90 in the neck? Do you want a telly or a humbucker in the bridge? Do you want, the bass cut or a mid push? It's just the same weird kind of mix. Like, do you want 2 pickups or 3? PRS is the same. Do you want a humbucker guitar that sounds kind of like a Strat? Do you want push pulls, or do you want a 5-way switch? Or do you want a locking trim? Do you want a hardtail? Do you want an acoustic pickup? It's just all the same things, but it's just a different mix of like, well, the scale length is different, but the controls are different, or the pickups are different, but it has the locking tremolo, all these things. That'd be great. I've never asked Tony. I've talked to Adam a bunch of times on Instagram, and yeah, I would love to. I love their guitars. It's great. They've had lots of stuff going on. So, have you ever heard of Vantage electric guitars? I have not. They've been around since the 1980s. They are Japanese made. Oh, I've seen these. They're all like BC Rich. Or all the old ones. I've seen these before. Yeah, they do nothing for me. I'm going to pass. That's a no for me, dog. All right. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm Jeremy. This is Guitar Hunter. And if you haven't, subscribe, like, become a channel member. Right after this, I'm going to snap some pictures. I'm going to send stuff out to patrons only and channel members only. So if you want this gear, it will not last. It's only going to be for them first. And then once, they get 24 hours to like, hey, if you want this thing, you can have this thing. And then it'll go out to the price. So. Oh, Brandon. Had artist pricing is such a hard thing to wrap your head around. Had a boutique company offer me artist pricing, won't call them out. I'm going to ask you later. But even with the discount, they were still at high-end USA pricing. Yep. That's when you look at like most guitar brands, like they're at 40%. No. They'll offer you 40% off. So most of the time, I don't mean to blow up their spot, but like generally speaking, you can get like 35%, maybe 40% off of a guitar for artist pricing. But usually it's like there's some hooks in it. So anyway, all right. Y'all are the best. And thanks for hanging out. This has been a really fun show. Thanks for everybody watching. And I'll see you later. All right. Let me see. Gotta do this. All right. See you later.